First Contact and Ultimatum. The sun rose over Earth like it had for billions of years, its light piercing the viewing portal of Sentinel Station. Commander Maya Chen stood at the main window of the International Defense Platform, her dark eyes fixed on the blue planet below. Her hands were clasped behind her back, posture perfect as always, but her mind raced with the implications of what their deep space arrays had detected. "They're entering the outer solar system now," said Lieutenant Raj Patel, his voice breaking the silence. 17 vessels, each larger than anything we've ever constructed. Maya nodded. The mysterious fleet had appeared at the edge of their detection grid 3 days ago, and despite all attempts at peaceful communication, they had maintained their direct course toward Earth, ignoring all hails. "Any word from the United Nations Security Council?" she asked. "Yes, Commander. They'd granted you full authority to speak for Earth," Raj replied, his voice tight with tension. The room fell silent. 20 men and women from 12 nations worked at their stations, monitoring screens and checking systems. They were the best of the best, chosen from every corner of the globe. Now the fate of 8 billion people rested on their shoulders. "Open a channel when they're in range," Maya ordered, "and make sure our message reaches the planetary defense grid. All nations need to be prepared." Officer Sophia Diaz at the communications station nodded. "Channel will be ready in 30 minutes, Commander." Maya turned and walked to her private office. The small room had only a desk, a chair, and a holographic display currently showing her family. She touched the image gently. Her wife and daughter were in a designated underground shelter along with millions of others. Would they ever see the sun again? The door slid open and General Hakim Abdul entered. The Egyptian officer's face was grim. "Is Project Phoenix operational?" Maya asked without turning around. "Yes," Hakim answered. "But you know what activating it means. There's no coming back from that decision." Maya finally turned to face him. "I know, but if it's the only way to save our world, I'll give the order. The Secretary General wanted me to remind you. Diplomacy first." "Always," Maya agreed. "But we'll be ready if diplomacy fails." 2 hours passed quickly. The alien fleet had entered Mars orbit and halted, as if gathering strength for the final approach to Earth. Maya stood in the command center with Dr. Elena Volkov, the Russian quantum physicist who had theorized the possibilities that led to Project Phoenix. "Channel open, Commander," Sophia announced. "They're responding." The main screen flickered and came to life, showing what could only be described as the alien commander. The being was tall and insectoid, with a dark exoskeleton that seemed to absorb light. Multiple compound eyes glittered like black jewels, and when it spoke, mandibles clicked together in a rhythm that the translation computers had somehow learned to understand. "Humans of Earth," the alien said, its synthesized voice echoing through the station. "I am Supreme Commander Kraz of the Kryvax Dominion. Your time of independence has ended. Submit to our authority, surrender your world's resources, and some of you may survive as our servants. Resist, and you will all perish." Maya stepped forward. Her voice was steady when she replied, "We welcome peaceful contact with all species, but we will not surrender our home. Earth belongs to humanity." Kraz made a clicking sound that might have been laughter. "Your weapons cannot harm us. Your technology is primitive. What choice do you have?" "There is always choice," Maya answered. "We ask you to leave our system in peace." The alien's compound eyes seemed to flash brighter. "To demonstrate our power and the futility of resistance. Observe." The screen split, showing one of the alien ships moving toward Phobos, the smaller moon of Mars. A beam of energy shot from the vessel and struck the moon. In seconds, Phobos cracked, then shattered into thousands of pieces. Gasps filled the command center. Dr. Volkov whispered, "The energy required to do that, it's beyond anything we've ever harnessed." Kraz spoke again. "That was one small warship. We have 17 capital vessels. You have 1 Earth day to surrender, or we will do the same to your moon." causing devastating tides and disasters on your world. Then we will come for Earth itself." The screen went dark. Silence filled the room until General Hakim spoke. "Commander, if they destroy our moon—" "I know," Maya said grimly. She pressed a button on the control panel. "This is Commander Chen to all Earth governments. You've seen what they can do. We need to make a decision now." Within an hour, leaders from around the world had gathered in a virtual emergency session. The discussion was brief. Everyone had seen the destruction of Phobos. The threat was clear. "We cannot surrender," the Secretary General said finally. "But conventional weapons will not stop them. Commander Chen, you have authorization to inform them of Project Phoenix." Maya nodded. She returned to the command center where her team waited for orders. "Open the channel again," she said to Sophia. "Broadcast to their fleet and to all of Earth." When the alien commander appeared on screen again, Maya spoke clearly and firmly. "Kraz of the Kryvax Dominion, this is humanity's final warning. Throughout our history, we have faced extinction many times, from ice ages, from asteroids, from our own weapons. Each time, we survived. We will survive you too." Maya paused, letting her words sink in. "We have been developing a defensive measure since we first detected signals from deep space decades ago. If you continue this aggression, you will face a response unlike anything your kind has ever witnessed." "Empty threats," Kraz replied. "Your primitive species cannot harm our Armada." Maya nodded to Dr. Volkov, who transmitted technical specifications of Project Phoenix, a quantum device capable of tearing apart the fabric of space-time itself. "This device creates a rupture in reality that will destroy everything within the orbit of Jupiter," Maya explained. "We built it as a last resort against extinction. If you force our hand, we will use it." For the first time, the alien commander was silent. "You would destroy yourselves?" Kraz finally asked. "If necessary," Maya answered. "We would rather die free than live as slaves. You have 6 hours to begin leaving our system. After that, we will consider your continued presence an act of war, and we will respond accordingly." The transmission ended. Now all they could do was wait and hope the aliens believed their warning. Maya looked again at Earth through the window. Would this be humanity's last day? Only time would tell. 6 months earlier, astrophysicist Dr. Liam Park had been working late at the Arecibo Radio Telescope facility in Puerto Rico when he detected an unusual signal. The regular pulses were too structured to be natural, too persistent to be coincidence. Someone, or something, was sending a message. For weeks, Liam worked with linguists and mathematicians to decipher the signal. When they finally broke the code, the message was simple but chilling. "We are coming." When Liam reported his findings to NASA, he was shocked at how quickly he was brought into a classified briefing with military officials. That was when he learned the truth. Earth had been monitoring similar signals for decades, preparing quietly for first contact. Now, as the Kryvax fleet hung in Mars orbit, Liam stood in the control room of Project Phoenix, the quantum device he had helped design. Located in a hardened facility deep beneath the Swiss Alps, the heart of the project was deceptively small, a spherical chamber surrounded by massive energy conduits and cooling systems. "Power levels at 80%, reported Dr. Amara Okonkwo, the Nigerian quantum engineer who had built much of the device. "Full capacity will be reached in 4 hours." Liam nodded, his face grim. "Are the verification protocols in place?" "Yes," Amara confirmed. 3 separate authorization codes must be entered simultaneously by 3 different officials. No single person can activate Phoenix alone. Defense Minister Zhao Wei, who oversaw the facility, entered the control room. "Commander Chen has delivered our ultimatum. Now we wait." Around the world, military forces mobilized, though everyone understood conventional weapons would do little against the alien technology. Civilians huddled in shelters or watched the skies fearfully. Some prayed, some raged, some fell into despair, but humanity as a whole refused to surrender without a fight. In orbit, Maya Chen waited in tense silence alongside her crew. The alien fleet remained motionless at Mars, neither advancing nor retreating. Were they considering the warning, or preparing for a final assault? 4 hours passed. Power levels for Project Phoenix reached 100%. The device was ready. 1 hour until our deadline expires, Raj reported. Maya nodded. Prepare for their response, whatever it may be. Just then, Sophia called out, Commander, we're detecting movement in the Kryvax fleet. All eyes turned to the main screen. Several alien vessels were changing position, moving away from Mars, back toward the outer solar system. They're retreating. Hakim asked, disbelief evident in his voice. Get me a direct line to their command ship, Maya ordered. When Kraz appeared on screen again, the alien's posture seemed different, less arrogant, more cautious. Commander of Earth forces, the Kryvax leader said, we have analyzed your weapon. You would truly use it, knowing it means the end of your own species. Without hesitation, Maya replied firmly, humans will die free before living as slaves. You have 30 minutes remaining before our deadline expires. For a moment, the alien was silent. Then, we will withdraw. But know this, your world is now marked. In all our conquests across 17 star systems, no species has ever forced us to retreat. You are the first. Maya allowed herself a small smile. Then let that be the lesson you carry to the stars. Earth is not for taking. The transmission ended. Immediately, Maya contacted the Phoenix facility. They're withdrawing. Hold the activation sequence. Around the world, people watched in disbelief as the alien ships began rising from Mars orbit, turning away, their engines glowing as they accelerated toward the outer solar system. On Sentinel Station, the command crew erupted in cheers and tears of relief. Maya stood silent, watching until the last ship disappeared from their sensors. They had won this round, but instinct told her it wouldn't be the last they saw of the Kryvax. Begin work on planetary defense systems immediately, she ordered. Next time, we'll be ready for them. As Earth celebrated its unexpected reprieve, few realized how close they had come to annihilation, or how profoundly this first contact would change humanity's future among the stars. Resistance and resolution. 3 days after the Kryvax fleet's retreat from Mars orbit, Earth's celebrations were cut short. Without warning, 12 smaller vessels, scout ships that had detached from the main fleet days earlier, emerged from hiding behind the moon. Before Sentinel Station could sound the alarm, the ships had descended into Earth's atmosphere, deploying ground forces at strategic locations across the globe. Captain Eli Torres crouched behind the burned-out hull of an overturned car, his face streaked with dirt and sweat. Once a Special Forces commander, he now led a hastily assembled resistance unit fighting in the ruins of Mexico City. Around him, 20 soldiers and civilian volunteers awaited his signal. They're coming, whispered Rodriguez, the team's scout, 3 of their walker machines and about 20 ground troops. Eli nodded. He had been fighting the Kryvax for 2 days, since they landed in the city center. His unit was one of many resistance groups engaging the aliens using guerrilla tactics. Strike fast, inflict damage, then disappear before the enemy could respond. Remember the plan, he said quietly. We hit them with EMP charges first to disable the walkers, then target their command units. We just need to hold them here until the airstrike arrives. The soldiers checked their weapons. These weren't ordinary guns, but special electromagnetic pulse weapons developed from technology reverse-engineered during previous alien encounters the general public knew nothing about. For Earth, Eli said simply. For Earth, the others echoed. They spread out among the rubble of what had once been a thriving neighborhood. Now it was just another battlefield in humanity's desperate struggle for survival. The alien forces came into view, moving with cold precision. The walker machines stood 4 meters tall with multiple appendages carrying weapon systems. Behind them marched the Kryvax ground soldiers, their dark exoskeletons gleaming in the sunlight. Eli waited until the lead walker passed the marked position, then gave the signal. 20 EMP charges detonated simultaneously, sending invisible pulses of energy at the targets. The walkers stumbled, their systems temporarily disrupted. Now, Eli shouted, and his team opened fire on the confused alien troops. Chaos erupted. The Kryvax had not expected such effective resistance. As some of their troops fell, the others took cover and began returning fire with weapons that shot beams of intense heat. "Move, move," Eli commanded, and his team began their planned retreat, firing as they went, drawing the aliens away from the evacuation zone, where civilians were being moved to underground shelters. Miles away, in a hardened command bunker beneath the Pentagon, General Victoria Reynolds watched the battle through satellite imagery. Similar skirmishes were happening across the globe, small human forces harassing the invaders, buying time. "Captain Torres has them distracted," she said to her staff. "How much longer until Project Phoenix is ready for targeted deployment?" 4 hours, General, replied her aide. Dr. Park and Dr. Okonkwo have reconfigured the device for localized effect. Reynolds nodded grimly. The scientists had worked around the clock to modify Project Phoenix from a system-wide doomsday device to a weapon that could target specific areas, namely, the Kryvax landing zones. It was still devastating technology, but might spare much of Earth in the process. On Sentinel Station, now damaged but still operational, Commander Chen once again faced the alien leader on the view screen. Kraz appeared agitated, compound eyes flashing angrily. "Your deception will not save you," the Kryvax commander hissed. "You spoke of withdrawal, yet you attacked." "We made no attack," Maya replied firmly. "Your scout ships violated our agreement by hiding behind our moon. It is you who broke faith." "It matters not," Kraz said dismissively. "My ground forces will secure your major population centers within days. Your resistance is futile." Maya leaned forward. "Perhaps you should study human history more carefully. We have never surrendered our home to invaders. Not once in thousands of years of warfare." "We have studied 17 worlds before yours," Kraz replied. "None fought so fiercely when defeat was certain. It is puzzling." "Take that as a warning," Maya said. "You have 2 hours to recall your ground forces and leave our system. After that, we will deploy Project Phoenix at your landing sites." The alien's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation, Maya had learned. "Your weapon cannot be used selectively. You would destroy your own cities." "If necessary," she answered without hesitation, "we will rebuild. We always do." Back on Earth, Eli's team had taken shelter in an underground metro station, regrouping before their next mission. A communication came through on their secure channel. General Reynolds herself. "Captain Torres, Project Phoenix will deploy in 2 hours. Get your people at least 10 kilometers from the city center." "Understood, General," Eli replied. He looked at his team, their faces illuminated by emergency lighting. "We're pulling out. Phoenix deployment in 2 hours." One of the younger soldiers asked quietly, "Is it true, Captain?" "About the weapon?" Eli studied each face in the dim light. These men and women deserved the truth. "Yes, it's true. The modified Phoenix device will create a localized reality distortion. Nothing within the target zone will survive. Not the aliens, not the buildings, nothing. So we're sacrificing our cities to save the planet," another soldier asked. "The Kryvax need to learn a lesson," Eli answered firmly. "That humans don't surrender. That if they force us to this point, we'll take them with us. The hope is they'll realize this and withdraw before we have to activate Phoenix." As the team prepared to move out, urgent news came through their communications network. The Kryvax command ships in orbit were changing position. Something was happening. In the Phoenix facility, Liam and Amara made final adjustments to the modified device. The targeting systems were locked on 7 major Kryvax landing zones around the globe. "Power flow is stable," Liam reported. "All systems ready for activation." Defense Minister Geo nodded solemnly. The Security Council has issued final authorization. Commander Chen will deliver our last warning to the Kryvax shortly. Amara stepped back from the control panel and looked at the weapon they had created. I never thought we would actually use it, she said softly. I always believed it would just be a deterrent. None of us did, Liam replied. But here we are. On Sentinel Station, Maya received an incoming transmission from the Kryvax command ship. Kraz's dark figure appeared on screen, but something was different. The alien's posture had changed, becoming less aggressive, more contemplative. Commander of Earth Forces, the alien said, we have analyzed your modified weapon. Our scientists confirm it could indeed create localized reality distortions at our landing sites. Then you understand our resolve, Maya replied. 1 hour remains before activation. For a long moment, the alien was silent, compound eyes dimming slightly. Then, in 17 conquests, we have never encountered a species willing to sacrifice their own territories rather than submit. It is irrational by our understanding. Perhaps your understanding of sentient life is incomplete, Maya suggested. Another moment of silence. Finally, Kraz said, we will withdraw. Our ground forces are already returning to their ships. But know this, your world has proven itself too costly to harvest. The Galactic Council will receive our full report on your species. You are now marked as a potential threat to interstellar stability. Maya allowed herself a small smile. Then let that be your message to your council. Earth will defend itself, whatever the cost. Around the world, people watched in disbelief as the alien ships began rising from their landing zones, ground forces retreating in organized fashion. Within hours, the scout ships had rejoined the main fleet beyond lunar orbit. Soon after, the entire Kryvax armada accelerated away from Earth, heading out of the solar system. In the Phoenix facility, Liam and Amara carefully powered down the device. The reality-bending energy field collapsed, leaving just an innocuous-looking sphere. Will we keep it operational? Amara asked quietly, in case they return. Defense Minister Joe nodded. Project Phoenix will remain our last line of defense, but let's hope we never need to bring it this close to activation again. 6 months later, Maya Chen stood before the newly formed Global Defense Council. Representatives from every nation filled the chamber, their faces solemn as they considered the future. The Kryvax have not returned, she reported, but our deep space monitoring stations have detected increased activity in nearby star systems. We believe word of our resistance has spread. General Reynolds, now head of the Unified Earth Defense Force, added, our reverse engineering of recovered Kryvax technology has accelerated our development by decades. The planetary shield network will be operational within 2 years. Dr. Park presented next. We've established listening posts throughout the solar system. If anyone approaches, we'll know well in advance. Additionally, we've begun construction of our first interstellar vessels. The Secretary General nodded. And Project Phoenix. We've refined it, Amara explained. The modified version can now target with greater precision, minimizing collateral damage. But it remains our option of last resort. As the meeting continued, Maya's thoughts drifted to the stars visible through the chamber's transparent dome. Humanity had faced its first true extraterrestrial threat and survived, not through overwhelming force, but through determination and the will to remain free at any cost. The Kryvax had called it irrational. Perhaps it was. But that irrationality, that uniquely human blend of courage, sacrifice, and refusal to surrender, had proven more powerful than any weapon. Maya knew the Kryvax wouldn't be the last visitors from the stars. Next time, Earth would be better prepared. And if the word spread throughout the galaxy that humans would rather destroy themselves than submit to conquest, perhaps that reputation alone would become their greatest defense. As Earth rebuilt and prepared, a message traveled across the stars, carried by the retreating Kryvax fleet to the Galactic Council they served. The species of Sol IOE values freedom above survival. Approach with caution. Further hostilities inadvisable. In the vast darkness of space, other civilizations received this warning with interest, some with fear, some with newfound respect, and some began to consider that perhaps in humanity they might find not subjects or enemies, but allies unlike any the galaxy had ever known. On Earth, for the first time in history, humanity stood united, looking to the stars not just with wonder, but with resolution. Whatever came next, they would face it together.